All right, gang. The attendance was 18,253. Sellout, $7.7 million gate. That's the record gate for any Australian indoor arena ever. And it's the continent record. We beat our own record for that one. Quinlan and Teixeira, performance of the night. Rongju and Steele for the fight of the night. Did I fuck that up? You know what I meant. No, performance of the night, fight of the night. $50,000 for all of them. Congrats to them. And I want to thank New South Wales government and Destination New South Wales for their ongoing support of the UFC and helping to bring this event to Sydney. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the main event. You know, great performance by DDP. Won every round on 2 of the judges' scorecards. Felt like Sean Strickland never really got out of first gear. What's your take on the fight and how do you view it?
I agree with you. Sean is usually really good at shutting people down. And like Izzy, when he fought Izzy felt like it looked like he couldn't get into a rhythm. And he was in his face, pressuring him the whole time. Feels like that was what Dreykus did. I'll tell you something fascinating that I noticed tonight for the first time. I don't know why. See if you notice this. So Sean Strickland, the way that he acts leading up to fights, right? Normally when you have people who act the way that he acts, you see signs of it in a fight. Who is more focused, professional, and solid in a fight than he is? You know, when he gets hurt, no sticking out the tongue or no, that didn't hurt me, anything. The guy stays focused, keeps coming forward. There's never any hint of how he acts outside the octagon when he's in there. Absolute professional the whole time. It's actually fascinating. I don't know if I've ever seen that with a guy who acts the way he does leading up to fights.
It must just be his happy place or something.
Huh?
It must be his happy place.
I don't know. Or this is all, you know what I mean? I've never seen a guy so solid and professional. Gets his nose broke, snaps it back into place and keeps fighting. Gets hit with some nasty shots. When he gets hit with big shots, he doesn't start shaking his head and doing all the goofy things that people like that do. I mean, you can go into any combat sport and you've seen it. Nobody is more professional during the fight than this guy is. It's fascinating, actually.
And another thing on Strickland as well that I think all the talking makes people sort of overlook is that he's very tough as well. Like, he ate some big shots from DDP. The nose thing, like, usually if you see a fighter freak out from the pain, they lose their composure. Like you said, he just gets right back into it and dials back in.
100%. Never, looks like he never slides off his game plan, stays focused, doing what he's supposed to do, even with a broken nose. Yeah, I agree. It's fascinating.
And on the other side with Dreykus, I mean, it got a little bit weird towards the end, but it would be said that in the first round, he actually looked maybe more technical than he has in...
Well, you know what's funny is, and I meant it as a compliment, when I said he fights like a white guy dances, right? Like awkward and whatever. They've been focusing on that. I was like, don't listen to the shit that I say. I'm you know, whatever he's doing works. He's the world champion. And how do you spar for a guy like that, you know? Don't change anything that he's doing on account of what I say.
I imagine this has to be discussed on Tuesday, but it would feel like Dreykus Hamzat is a pretty big fight that you guys could put on right now.
Yeah. We'll talk about it on Tuesday, though.
Okay. Co-main event, Zhang came out-muscled the woman who was meant to be stronger than her, out-wrestled the woman who was meant to out-wrestle her. Amazing performance by her. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know about you guys or how you felt, but lots of people were texting me saying that Weili loses tonight and, you know, it's over, and she was an underdog, and I bet the casinos got murdered tonight because I bet a lot of people threw money on Tatiana. But when you look at Weili, she's one of the greatest of all time, the best female fighter, you know, in the sport right now. And at the press conference, you know, Tatiana was talking about what she was going to do and what about her wrestling. And Weili said, this isn't a wrestling match, this is a fight. And she actually out-wrestled Tatiana tonight and absolute stud. And such a huge, huge star in China for us. She trended, I want to say she trended #1 like 4 times during fight week. 100 million views just on UFC platforms in China. And tonight she was trending #1 in all the big territories for us. So huge star.
I would assume then that you would look to bring her to China at some point in the future.
What's that?
Would you like to take her to China at some point in the future?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the talent that's coming out of, they all look good tonight. So, yeah, it was a really, really good week for China.
Yeah. I just have one for you outside of this one. I don't know if you've seen the boxing world this week with Turkey Al-Sheikh apparently stealing Canelo from Jake Paul and managing to get a 4-fight deal. Curious if you've had any takes on that and if you are impressed with what Turkey's able to do in boxing.
With what? Who's able to do?
Turkey managed to steal Canelo from Jake Paul, basically.
Listen, they control the sport of boxing right now. I don't think it's hard for them to steal anybody from anybody. I don't know the ins and outs of that deal, but I'm sure it's not too hard to steal somebody away from them to Saudi. Yeah, totally different levels there. Not even the same universe of levels.
In the front right here. We spoke with Weili before this fight earlier this week, and she said that if she got past Tatiana, what she would want is to move up in flyweight because she feels like she's running out of opponents at strawweights. Will you entertain like this super fight between Valentina and Weili in the future?
They're waiting for me.
It seems like a big night for just like these Australian prospects like Quinlan in the beginning, Tom Nolan, Mikulev on the prelims, all making their debuts, but they're in here and they're talking about, the lightweight division has a lot of people in past 35 that might not be here, and I'm going to be the guys that will, this new wave of lightweights headlining fight nights moving forward. What did you make of all the debutantes today?
Yeah, I love it. I keep talking about this region and how fast it blew up, not just fans. I mean, fans were packed to the roof tonight in there, but the talent that's coming out of this region.
And you guys announced Israel Adesanya, Kelvin Gastelum going into the UFC Hall of Fame. Seems like a no-brainer, but even Izzy thought it was. He was surprised because he goes, "I'm still young. I'm not making the Hall of Fame right now."
Yeah. So what's weird about it is that this stuff was decided a long time ago, and then we end up here, so it worked out perfect. He didn't know why he was here, and when he came over and sat near me, he was like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "I just wanted to hang with you a little bit," and then he got hit with it. So well-deserved and really happy for him. We talked tonight. He's going to take some time off and relax. So
there's a debate online over whether that's the greatest co-main event fight in UFC history. It seems to be between that, Joanna, Weili 1, and Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler 2. I'm curious if you have a take on that.
Fuck. All three of those are tough to, Yeah, that's tough.
Just last one for me. Dominic Cruz announced his retirement. A guy some people think is the greatest bantamweight of all time. At worst, the second best bantamweight ever. I'm curious, just what do you make of Dominic's career?
And he's great on the mic too. So, when you have the type of experience and the type of career he's had, and you can sit in the booth and talk fights, it's awesome. So he'll have a great career after his career.
Was that his call to like kind of hang it up like after another injury? Or did you guys have a conversation?
Listen, I'm blown away that he's hung in there as long as he did. I mean, who's been more injured than this guy in his career? It's fascinating, and the mental drive to want to just keep coming back and trying again and again and again after so many surgeries and so many injuries. You got to give it to him. But I'm glad that he finally hung it up.
Actually, just one more. A couple featherweights were here in Ilya Volkanovski and Diego. You guys announced the Miami and Montreal Carter. Is there any, like this featherweight kind of trilogy between those three? Is there anything we can clear up on who's fighting who in the near future?
Soon. Not tonight. Who's next? What's up, buddy?
这次我也是代表中国咪咕前方特派员报道本次赛事。你心中的 PCP 第一是谁？是维利吗？
Hi, this is Leach from Migu. First question for you is, do you still think Valentina is the pound for pound number one, or Weili is the pound for pound number one right now?
Who?
Valentina or Weili is the pound for pound.
That's a good one. Yeah. I fucking hate answering these questions because I love them both. Maybe we'll just have to find out.
这是大家都很关心的问题。下一场你会安排他和子弹打吗？我们很想知道，也很期待这场比赛。
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this fight, Weili versus Valentina. Do you think this will happen?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
今年中国赛有的话，老板也希望你能来到中国，很多粉丝们都期待你来感受一下中国人的热情。
If there's a China event this year, hopefully, Dana, you can come to China, and a lot of fans is looking forward to seeing you in China.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've already said this week I'm definitely going to China, and I'm going to tour all around mainland, and yeah, I got a lot of plans this year for China. I will be there, and like I was telling these guys earlier, Weili and her team are waiting out here for me right now. So I don't know, and I do know what they want.
今天中国的成千上万的粉丝都在关注这场比赛，而且在整场比赛来看，韦利也没有受太大的伤，应该是粉丝们希望你都能跟韦利安排2场比赛，今年大家很期待。
Yeah, Weili seems very dominated, and she don't have any injury. Do you think she can fight multiple times in 2025?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Yeah, she looked absolutely dominant tonight. She looked great. As far as I know, she's healthy and came out of that fight with 0 injuries. So yeah, yes, the answer is yes, yes. We'll see what she wants. And, you know, she's at a point in her career now and everything that she's accomplished that whatever she has to ask me in the hallway back here, I'm probably going to say yes.
Thank you， 谢谢老板。
Thank you.
And just straight ahead in between these 2 cameras.
Yep, hi.
Obviously, there was a bit of talk in the build-up to this event with the tax that the fighters get coming here. I just wondered if there was any conversation between yourself and the Premier or the New South Wales government for any potential alleviation in that regard?
About what, taxes?
Taxes for the fighters, if there's any conversation between you and the government about maybe taking them, helping out with the tax?
If I had that kind of power, I'd be negotiating that shit for myself in the United States, too. Unfortunately, my friends, we all have to pay taxes. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Do you understand the fans being a little bit disappointed that, you know, the fighters don't have that incentive to come all the way to Australia because of how high the tax is?
Yeah, it's no different than if we go to New York or California or some of these other states. Yeah, taxes are an unfortunate, you know, but I think that there is, I mean, these guys can file and get some of the money back. I mean, you can file and get some of the money back as far as I'm aware of. But, yeah, listen, no matter what side of the fence you sit on or what you believe in, we can all agree that taxes suck. I don't think there's any argument with anybody on that one. They suck, but there's something we got to pay.
Just in the back right here, Dana.
Yep.
Well, touching on what you just said there is a tax treaty between Australia and the US, so US fighters at least aren't double taxed, so you're on the money there. Sincerely, I do want to also thank you for coming to Sydney. The vibe here was unmatched. Speaking about great Australian fighters, Steve Erceg was set to fight Asu Almabayev, and now the main event of UFC Mexico City is him against Brandon Moreno. I'd love to understand the build-up of that and why that fight changed.
Shit, I have no idea. I don't remember how or why it did. I don't know. I couldn't honestly answer that question for you right now.
That's right. That's right. I also wanted to ask you a question about Jairzinho Rozenstruik. After his fight against Pavlovich, there were reports going around that maybe he's not with the UFC anymore. He posted that onto his ex that was the case. Did he request his release, or was he not re-signed? What was the situation there?
Yeah, I don't. He was either cut or not re-signed.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Hey, Dana.
Yeah.
With multi-fight deal in Australia and it being a bigger market, what's the likelihood of another card coming back to New Zealand?
Coming back to New Zealand? Huh, that's a good question. I can't answer that one off the top of my head either. But yes, obviously, I mean, look at tonight. Look how successful this event is. And, you know, this is a big event for us tonight. Again, we broke the record. Trending, you know, #1 in the United States, #3 in Brazil, #1 in Australia, #4 in France. There's, you know, what people don't understand is when we move this thing around and we go to different parts of the world, #1 in China, off and on the entire week, 100 million views for Chinese content just on UFC platforms, not including, it's just, it's big. It's big. A lot of people, don't understand this business and how this business really works. Most people don't. Media, you know, and a lot of other, you know, people who follow the sport. Tonight was a big event for the UFC, massive. So we'll be back here soon.
And it's every event seems to break records. There has to be a cap eventually. Is there a risk of outpricing fans to be able to attend?
What's the question?
The events keep breaking records. There must be a cap at one point. Do you think you may be reaching a point to outprice the fans?
Well, we're not close. I mean, we keep breaking the records. And I mean, if you look at what it costs to come to a UFC event, it's on par or cheaper than most big events.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dana, just another one over here. Repeated successful events in Australia, and I don't know literally number by number, but I would assume a record amount of Australian and New Zealand fighters signed last year. There was heaps of them. What do you think it is about this region that it's gaining so much success in the UFC?
You know, I think that when I first started this thing, right, the three no-brainers for me were the United States, Mexico, and the UK, traditionally big boxing countries. But Australia, when you really think about it, does make a lot of sense too. A lot of tough people here. You guys got rugby, soccer, and a couple other sports. I saw fucking pillow fighting on fucking TV tonight here in Australia. I don't ever want to hear another word from you people about power slap, okay? Ever. But, yeah, it makes sense. You know, the fan base continues to grow here, and the talent is off the charts. So I don't know if I answered your question, but hope so.
And just one more from me. The last few times you've come to Australia, it's been for pay-per-view events. However, if I'm not mistaken, the deal with Perth was one pay-per-view and one fight night. UFC is such a big machine. To bring an event like a fight night all the way down here, do you expect it to be like more difficult because it may be like a smaller event?
No, we bring fight nights everywhere. I just did a fight night in Saudi Arabia last week. Fight nights and pay-per-views are how we built this business. We have a whole laundry list of fighters that are super talented and possibly the world champions of tomorrow. And those are the guys that we move around and put on fight night cards. As long as the fights are, listen, I have to have 3 or 4 holy shit moments a night. And as long as that happens on any card that we do, we had a successful evening.
Thank you very much.
And Dana, just at the back here. Speaking of the Perth card, the fight night, there was reports coming out that it might be June, July. Do you have any details on that?
June, July, that's Perth, perhaps?
I don't know off the top of my head.
And I just wanted to clarify. I asked you the press conference, but, you know, it's a little bit more intimate here. We can have that chat. Sean Strickland and the New South Wales government, obviously all the media and stuff and the outrage. Obviously, you laughed about it the other day with what you put on your story with the newspaper, which...
I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, most of us do. It's ridiculous. We don't even like the paper here. But
listen, for a place that is so tough and the people... Everything on land and the water can kill you. You have the biggest pussies I've ever seen in the media in my life. I saw a story where a guy was like, I saw Dana do a podcast with the Premier, and it physically made me sick. Holy fucking shit. You guys have to have the biggest pussies of all time in the media here. Just for the record, but go ahead, what's the question?
The question is, does anyone in the government at all go, please not Strickland, or does that ever get back to you at all?
I do that. Are you kidding me? I do that. It is what it is. You know my stance on this, you know. We're going to take guys and girls that say a lot of things and do a lot of things. I'm a big believer in free speech. And, you know, it probably seems worse when you come here because your media are such weak human beings. I thought we had weak media. You guys win hands down.
Do you say anything, or do you literally just ignore them? Like, did they actually voice it to you at all?
We were actually laughing about it. We were reading the story in the back and cracking up at that guy. That guy's got to be the biggest fucking wimp on planet Earth.
So no one from the government, though, actually goes full to the side? Okay, cool.
No.
Well, then, fuck those guys.
Even your people know that your fucking media are weak. They even know. They know it. You know it. We all know it now.
Yeah,
I
we
didn't know. Now I know. Good? Have a great night, you guys. And thank you, Australia. You guys are the best.